Success starts with you how to be your best self. This audiobook is not just information. It's a journey, a personal invitation to rediscover your strength, your purpose, and your highest potential. Whether you're here to heal, to grow, to reset, or to reach the next level of your life, you're in the right place. Each chapter is designed to guide you step by step, day by day from where you are to where you're meant to be. You'll explore the power of self-awareness, the courage of letting go, the clarity of vision, the strength of habits, the importance of mindset, the value of connection, and the wisdom of compassion. You don't need to be perfect to begin. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need one thing: a willingness to grow. So take a deep breath and let go of yesterday. Give yourself permission to evolve, today. This is your moment. Let's begin.
Chapter 1. Awaken to your truth. Becoming your best self begins with self-awareness. Before you can grow, improve, or transform, you need to understand who you truly are. That sounds simple, but in reality, most people go through life without ever really asking that question. From childhood, we're influenced by family, school, media, and society. We start learning who we're supposed to be instead of discovering who we really are. We're told to behave a certain way, follow certain rules, choose acceptable careers, and live a life that fits into other people's expectations. But deep down, many people feel disconnected. Something doesn't feel right. You may find yourself asking, is this all there is? Why don't I feel fulfilled even when everything looks fine on the outside? That feeling is your inner self calling you to wake up. Awakening to your truth is about removing all the layers of expectations, pressure, and false identities you've taken on, and starting to look honestly at who you are at your core. So, how do you start? First, take time to slow down. This is difficult in a fast-paced world where everyone is constantly busy, distracted, and trying to keep up. But reflection doesn't happen in noise. It happens in silence. Give yourself time to think, really think, about what matters to you. Ask yourself these simple but powerful questions. What makes me feel alive? What parts of my life drain me? When do I feel most like myself? What values are most important to me? What kind of person do I want to become? You don't need perfect answers right away. What matters is that you start asking. The more you reflect, the more you'll begin to notice patterns. You might realize you're living a life based on someone else's version of success, or that your daily actions don't align with your inner values. That's okay. Awareness is the first step to change. As you awaken to your truth, you'll likely feel uncomfortable at times. That's completely normal. It might mean facing regrets, acknowledging unhealthy habits, or admitting that you've been avoiding your dreams out of fear. But don't judge yourself. This process requires compassion. You're not here to blame yourself. You're here to reconnect with who you are. Awakening also means accepting that your past doesn't define you. The things you've been through may have shaped you, but they do not limit you. You are allowed to grow beyond them. You're allowed to want more, to dream bigger, and to become someone new, without feeling guilty about it. It's important to understand that becoming your best self isn't about adding more to your life. It's often about removing what doesn't belong, whether that's self-doubt, toxic relationships, limiting beliefs, or old stories you keep telling yourself. For example, if you constantly think you're not good enough, ask yourself where that belief came from. Was it something someone told you when you were young? Was it based on a past failure? Once you recognize that the belief isn't the truth, it's just a story, you can begin to let it go. Awakening to your truth also requires honesty. Be honest about what you want, even if it scares you. Be honest about what's not working, even if it's painful. And be honest about who you are, even if it means disappointing others. The more honest you become, the freer you feel. Finally, remember that this awakening is a journey. It's not something that happens overnight. You'll have moments of clarity and moments of confusion. You'll grow, then feel stuck, then grow again. That's part of the process. What matters is your willingness to keep showing up, to keep asking the hard questions, to keep moving closer to the person you were meant to be, not the person the world told you to be. Your truth is your foundation. Once you discover it and start living from it, every other part of your life becomes more meaningful and aligned. So, Take this first step. Begin to awaken. Pay attention to your thoughts, your feelings, your desires. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to start. Because once you awaken to your truth, the path to becoming your best self becomes clear. Chapter 2. Letting go of limitations. Once you start becoming aware of who you truly are, the next important step is learning to let go of what's holding you back. Every one of us carries some form of mental or emotional baggage. These are the limitations we've picked up over time: limiting beliefs, painful memories, negative self-talk, and fears. Many of these were not even chosen consciously. They were formed through past experiences, failure, rejection, criticism, or even things we heard as children that stuck with us. But here's the truth. You cannot move forward while being held back by the past. Letting go isn't easy. In fact, it's one of the most challenging parts of personal growth. Because we often become attached to our struggles. We hold on to our pain as part of our identity. We think, this is just who I am, or this is how life has always been for me. But the truth is that story isn't fixed. You can rewrite it. Start by identifying your inner limitations. Ask yourself, what beliefs do I have about myself that keep me stuck? Do I believe I'm not good enough? Do I fear failure so I avoid taking risks? Do I feel like I don't deserve success or happiness? These beliefs are not facts. They are old thoughts that have been repeated so often, they feel real. But once you become aware of them, you gain the power to challenge them. For example, if you believe, I always mess things up, take a step back and ask, is that actually true? Or have I just made mistakes like every other human being? Start replacing those old beliefs with more truthful ones like, I've made mistakes, but I've learned and grown from them. Letting go also involves forgiving yourself and others. This may be one of the most difficult things you'll ever do, but it's also one of the most freeing. If you're holding on to guilt, shame, or resentment, it's like carrying a heavy backpack everywhere you go. It weighs you down and drains your energy. Forgiveness doesn't mean what happened was okay. It means you're choosing to no longer let it control you. Forgiving yourself allows you to move forward. You're not perfect, and you don't have to be. What matters is that you learn from your past and give yourself permission to evolve. Letting go also means giving up control over things you cannot change. Life doesn't always go according to plan. People may hurt you. Opportunities may pass. Unexpected events may shake your sense of security. But holding on to those things won't bring you peace. Instead, learn to accept what you can't change and shift your focus to what you can, your mindset, your choices, your actions, and your future. Sometimes, letting go also involves walking away from people or environments that no longer serve your growth. This doesn't mean cutting people off out of anger, it means setting healthy boundaries out of self-respect. Not everyone is meant to go with you on your journey. And that's okay. You are not here to stay small so that others feel comfortable. You are here to grow, to rise, to become more of who you are meant to be. Letting go clears the path. It creates space for new things to enter, new ideas, new habits, new opportunities, and new relationships. But as long as you're holding on to the old, you block the new from coming in. Think of it like cleaning a cluttered room. Once you remove the unnecessary stuff, you can breathe again. You can move freely. You feel lighter. The same thing happens in your mind and your life when you start letting go. So today, ask yourself honestly, what is one belief I need to let go of? What is one habit or fear that no longer serves me? What would my life feel like if I released that weight? You don't have to let go of everything at once. Start small. Let go of one thought, one pattern, one fear, and then another. With every step, you'll feel more freedom, more clarity, and more strength. Because your best self isn't buried in your past. It's waiting in your future. And you'll reach it when you stop holding on to what no longer belongs in your story. Chapter 3. Crafting a Vision. Once you've awakened to your truth and begun letting go of the beliefs, habits, and patterns that limit you, the next step in becoming your best self is to clearly define the future you want to create. You cannot hit a target you can't see. You can't become your best self without knowing what that looks like. This is where vision comes in. Having a personal vision means creating a clear mental picture of the kind of life you want to live and the kind of person you want to become. It gives your actions direction. It brings meaning to your goals. And most importantly, it helps you stay focused when life gets distracting or difficult. A strong vision acts like a compass. Even when the path feels uncertain, it points you back to what matters most. So let's begin with a simple question. What does your ideal life look like? Don't think just in terms of money or career. Think bigger. What kind of relationships do you want? How do you want to feel every morning when you wake up? What kind of person do you want to be in your family, your community, your work? How do you want to spend your time, your energy, your creativity? Close your eyes for a moment and imagine it in detail. Where are you living? What does your daily routine look like? How do people describe you when you're not around? What does success mean to you, not by society's standards, but by your own? Don't worry if this feels hard at first. Many people are so busy surviving or reacting to life that they've never really thought about what they want from it. If that's you, that's okay. You're starting now, and that's what counts. To make this vision real, you need to write it down. When you put your vision into words, it becomes more tangible. Write a paragraph that describes your ideal life in the present tense, as if it's already happening. For example, I wake up each day feeling energized and grateful. I spend my time doing meaningful work that helps others. I'm surrounded by people who inspire and support me. I take care of my health, my mind, and my relationships. This is not fantasy. This is a blueprint. It gives you something to move toward. Now, here's the next important part. Who do you need to become to live that life? Your future is not just about what you want to have. It's about who you want to be. If your vision includes being confident, generous, peaceful, or disciplined, then ask, what habits support that version of me? What thoughts do I need to change? What actions would that version of me take every day? This is where vision turns into growth. Because you start living as if you already are that person. You begin aligning your daily choices with the person you want to become. It's also important to keep your vision close. Write it somewhere you can see it. Read it every morning, even if it feels far away. Especially when it feels far away. Because your mind needs reminders of where you're going. Without that, it will focus on everything that's wrong or missing. Over time, your vision will evolve. That's normal. As you grow, your understanding of your purpose, your goals, and your priorities may change. But having a vision, even an imperfect one, is far better than walking through life without any direction. When you wake up with purpose, when you make choices that align with your vision, you start living more intentionally. You stop chasing what others tell you to want. You start building a life that feels right on the inside, not just impressive on the outside. And that's what becoming your best self is really about. So, if you haven't already, take some time today to create your vision. Not a to-do list or a 5-year plan, just a simple, honest picture of the life you want to live and the kind of person you want to be. Then begin living it, one small decision at a time. Because the future isn't waiting for you to be ready. It's waiting for you to begin. Chapter 4: Building Powerful Habits. Once you've created a vision for the life you want and the person you want to become, the next step is turning that vision into reality. And this is where many people struggle, not because they lack motivation, but because they lack the right systems. The truth is, your life is shaped by your habits. Not by your goals. Not by your dreams. But by the small things you do every single day. We often think that massive change requires massive effort. But real transformation happens slowly, quietly, through consistent action over time. It's not what you do once in a while that changes you. It's what you do consistently. If you want to become your best self, you must focus on building the right habits. Habits that reflect the person you want to be. Let's break this down. 1. Start with identity-based habits. Don't build habits based on what you want to achieve. Build them based on who you want to become. For example, instead of saying, I want to lose weight, shift to, I want to become a healthy person. Instead of saying, I want to write a book, say, I am a writer. Because when your habits are linked to your identity, you're more likely to stick with them. Every time you follow through on a habit, you cast a vote for the person you want to become. So ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be? What small daily habits would that version of me practice? This shift in thinking is powerful. It's no longer just about results, it's about transformation. 2. Make habits small and sustainable. One of the biggest mistakes people make is trying to change too much at once. They get excited, make a huge list, and try to overhaul their entire life in 1 week. It rarely works. Change that lasts starts small. If you want to read more, start with 1 page a day. If you want to eat healthier, add 1 vegetable to your lunch. If you want to meditate, begin with just 2 minutes. It might feel insignificant, but that's the point. Small habits are easier to stick with. And once they become part of your routine, you can build on them. Remember, consistency beats intensity. Doing a little every day is better than doing a lot once and then giving up. 3. Design your environment for success. Your environment plays a huge role in your behavior. If your phone is always within reach, you'll probably check it constantly. If your kitchen is full of junk food, healthy eating becomes harder. If you work in a cluttered, noisy space, staying focused feels like a battle. You can't rely on willpower forever. But you can design your environment to make good choices easier. Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Keep a book on your pillow so you're reminded to read. Remove distractions from your workspace. Set reminders and alarms to help you stay on track. The more you align your surroundings with your goals, the fewer decisions you'll need to make, and the more your habits will run on autopilot. 4. Track progress and celebrate small wins. When building new habits, it's important to measure your progress. Not to judge yourself, but to stay aware and motivated. You can use a simple calendar, habit tracker app, or journal. Mark an X every time you complete your habit for the day. Over time, those small marks build momentum. Also, don't forget to celebrate small wins. You don't have to wait until the final result to feel proud. Celebrate the fact that you showed up, that you tried, that you didn't quit. Progress may be slow, but every step forward is a step closer. 5. Be patient and kind to yourself. Building habits isn't a straight path. Some days you'll miss. Some days you'll feel tired. That's okay. What matters is that you don't give up. Missing 1 day doesn't break a habit. Giving up after 1 mistake does. So be patient with yourself. Real change takes time. Don't aim for perfection, aim for progress. When you fall off track, don't beat yourself up. Simply begin again. Every day is a new chance. Chapter 5. The Power of Mindset. If your habits are the actions that shape your life, your mindset is the lens through which you see that life. It determines how you interpret challenges, how you respond to failure, and how much you believe in your own potential. In simple words, your mindset is the story you tell yourself about what is possible for you. There are 2 types of mindsets people typically live by: a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Let's start with the fixed mindset. A person with a fixed mindset believes that their abilities, intelligence, or personality traits are unchangeable. They think they're either born talented or not, smart or not, capable or not, and that's just the way it is. So when they face difficulty or failure, they see it as proof that they're not good enough. They give up more easily. They avoid challenges. And they often stop growing because they believe they can't. Now, let's look at the growth mindset. Someone with a growth mindset believes they can develop skills over time. They understand that effort, practice, and learning lead to progress. When they face failure, they see it as feedback, not a reflection of their worth. They don't avoid challenges, they embrace them, because they know growth often comes from discomfort. This shift in mindset changes everything. Instead of saying, "I'm not good at this," someone with a growth mindset says, "I'm not good at this yet." Instead of, "I always fail," they say, "I'm learning from my mistakes." Instead of, "I can't," they ask, "How can I?" So ask yourself right now, what kind of mindset are you carrying? Do you shrink away from challenges, or do you see them as opportunities to grow? Do you beat yourself up for every mistake, or do you reflect and adjust? Do you focus more on your limitations or on your potential? Because your mindset has the power to shape your entire life experience. Even when things are tough, and they will be at times, your mindset is what determines whether you stay stuck or keep moving forward. Let's look at an example. Imagine 2 people facing the same setback, say, a job rejection. One says, I knew I wasn't good enough. I'll never get hired. The other says, okay, that wasn't the right opportunity. What can I improve for next time? Same situation, two completely different outcomes, simply because of mindset. And this doesn't just apply to work. It applies to your health, relationships, finances, confidence, everything. If you believe change is possible, you'll take action. If you don't, you'll stay where you are. That's why mindset isn't just positive thinking. It's about choosing a more empowered perspective. It means taking responsibility for your growth instead of blaming circumstances. It means seeing problems as puzzles to solve, not walls to block you. It means believing that you are not stuck. You are still becoming. Now here's the good news. Mindset is not permanent. You can change it. Start by observing your thoughts. When something goes wrong, what's your first reaction? When you feel afraid, what story do you tell yourself? Once you notice your patterns, you can begin to reframe them. Instead of, I failed, say, I tried and learned. Instead of, I'm too old to change, say, it's never too late to grow. Instead of, this is too hard, say, this is stretching me, and that's how I'll improve. Also, surround yourself with people who reinforce a growth mindset. Listen to stories of people who overcame obstacles. Read books, watch inspiring content, and engage in conversations that challenge and uplift you. Remember, your mindset is a choice. You may not be able to control everything that happens in life, but you can always control how you respond to it. And your response is what shapes your future. So, choose a mindset that moves you forward. Choose to believe in your ability to learn, to adapt, and to improve. Choose to see struggle as strength and progress. Choose to see yourself not as someone who has to be perfect, but as someone who is committed to becoming better. Because the truth is this: you are capable of far more than you know. And the moment you believe that, your entire life begins to change. Chapter 6: Connection and Community. Becoming your best self is often seen as a personal journey, and in many ways, it is. But that journey is not meant to be walked alone. You grow faster, deeper, and stronger when you're surrounded by the right people. The truth is, your environment shapes your mindset. The people you spend the most time with influence how you think, what you believe, and what you expect from yourself. Take a moment and think about your circle. Are you surrounded by people who uplift you or drain you? Do they challenge you to grow or hold you back with negativity? Do they believe in your dreams or make you feel like you're aiming too high? Whether you realize it or not, the voices around you often become the voice inside you. That's why choosing your community is a powerful step toward becoming your best self. You don't need a huge circle. You just need the right people, those who reflect your values, support your vision, and encourage your evolution. These are people who listen without judgment, speak truth even when it's uncomfortable, celebrate your growth, push you out of your comfort zone, remind you of your strength when you forget. And here's something even more important. You must also become that kind of person for others. It's not enough to seek support, you must offer it. Lift others as you rise. Be generous with your encouragement. Celebrate others' wins, even when you're still working on your own. Be the kind of friend, mentor, or partner you wish you had during your hardest times. Sometimes, connection means being vulnerable, opening up when you'd rather stay silent. It means sharing your truth instead of pretending everything's fine. Real connection doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from being honest. If you're struggling to find people like this, don't be discouraged. You're not alone. And you don't have to wait until the perfect people show up. Start by showing up for yourself. Start building communities, join groups, take classes, go to events, or even reach out to someone online whose values resonate with yours. You'd be surprised how many people are looking for the same kind of connection you are. Also, don't forget the power of boundaries. Sometimes, becoming your best self means stepping away from relationships that are toxic, manipulative, or draining. It's not about blame or anger, it's about protecting your peace. You don't have to keep people in your life just because of shared history. Shared direction matters more. You are allowed to grow beyond the version of yourself that others are comfortable with. And not everyone will understand your journey, and that's okay. You're not here to please everyone. You're here to live fully, truthfully, and with purpose. So, whether you're surrounded by a strong community or still building one, remember this. You are not alone in this journey. There are people out there who will support you, challenge you, and walk beside you. But you must be willing to reach out, to let people in, to offer and receive support. Your best self doesn't just grow in isolation. It blossoms in connection. In honest conversations, shared struggles, quiet encouragements, and mutual growth. Never underestimate the power of community. Because while the journey may start with you, it becomes so much richer when it includes others. Chapter 7. Embracing failure, celebrating growth. Failure. It's a word that often brings up fear, shame, and discomfort. But what if you could look at failure differently, not as something to avoid, but as something to embrace? Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of the process. It's not a sign that you're weak or unworthy. It's a sign that you're trying, stretching, growing. The truth is, every person who has ever done something meaningful has failed, many times. The people you admire, the ones you see as successful, didn't get where they are without facing rejection, embarrassment, and setbacks. The only difference is, they didn't stop. They understood that failure isn't a wall. It's a door. Let's be honest, nobody enjoys failing. It doesn't feel good when things don't go as planned, when we mess up, or when we fall short of our goals. But here's the shift in mindset: failure doesn't define you. How you respond to it does. When you try and fail, you've learned something valuable. You've gained experience, perspective, and clarity. You now know what doesn't work, which gets you one step closer to what does. So instead of asking, "What if I fail?" start asking, "What will I learn?" Think about a time in your life when something didn't go according to plan. Maybe it was a job interview, a relationship, a personal goal. Looking back now, can you see what that experience taught you? Can you see how it shaped your resilience or gave you insight you wouldn't have gained otherwise? Often, our biggest growth comes from our most difficult moments. And sometimes it's not just about learning. It's about building character. Every time you fall and get back up, you're becoming stronger, wiser, more determined. You're proving to yourself that you can handle discomfort and keep going. This is how you develop real confidence. Not by avoiding failure, but by surviving it. Here's something else to remember: you don't have to get everything right the first time. We put so much pressure on ourselves to be perfect, to get it right quickly, to succeed fast. But that mindset is unrealistic and exhausting. Growth is not instant. It's a process. And the path to becoming your best self is filled with trial and error. It's messy. It's full of ups and downs. And that's exactly how it's supposed to be. If you never failed, you'd never stretch beyond your comfort zone. If you never made mistakes, you'd never learn what really works for you. So instead of hiding your failures, celebrate your efforts. Celebrate the fact that you showed up, that you risked something, that you dared to try. Even when things didn't go your way, you were in motion, and motion is better than staying stuck in fear. Start seeing failure as data. Fuel for growth. What did I learn about myself through this experience? What can I do differently next time? How can I use this moment to grow stronger? And most importantly, don't let failure make you forget how far you've come. Sometimes we're so focused on what we haven't achieved yet that we forget to acknowledge all the progress we've already made. Think back to where you were a year ago, or even a few months ago. Are you more self-aware? More courageous? More intentional? That's growth. And it deserves to be celebrated. You don't need a perfect record to be proud of yourself. You just need to keep showing up. Keep trying. Keep learning. Keep rising. Because failure is not the end. It's not a sign to stop. It's a step forward, if you choose to see it that way. So the next time you stumble, don't shrink. Don't retreat. Stand up. Reflect. Adjust. And keep going. Your best self isn't the one who never falls. It's the one who falls and keeps rising again and again. Chapter 9. Practicing self-compassion. Becoming your best self isn't just about pushing harder, doing more, or striving for excellence. Sometimes, the most powerful growth comes from learning how to be kind to yourself. especially when you're struggling. This is where self-compassion becomes essential. Many people are quick to show kindness to others, but harsh with themselves. They speak gently to friends going through hard times, but criticize their own mistakes. They offer patience to others, but expect perfection from themselves. Here's the truth. You can't grow through constant self-judgment. You grow when you feel safe to fail, to learn, to be imperfect. And that safety starts with how you treat yourself. Self-compassion means treating yourself like you would treat a close friend. It means offering understanding when you fall short. It means recognizing that struggle is part of being human, not a personal failure. Let's break it down. Self-compassion has 3 main parts. 1. Mindfulness. This means noticing when you're suffering, instead of ignoring it or pushing it away. It means pausing long enough to say, "This is hard right now." Mindfulness helps you face your pain without exaggerating it or minimizing it. 2. Self-kindness. This is about speaking to yourself with warmth rather than criticism. Instead of saying, "What's wrong with me?" you ask, "How can I support myself through this?" You give yourself encouragement, not punishment. 3. Common humanity. This means remembering that you're not alone. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has flaws. Everyone struggles. You're not broken. You're human. These 3 things, awareness, kindness, and shared humanity, create a powerful foundation for healing and growth. And here's something important. Self-compassion is not weakness. It's not self-pity, laziness, or an excuse to avoid responsibility. In fact, research shows that people who practice self-compassion are more motivated, more resilient, and more willing to take risks. Because they know that failing doesn't make them unworthy, it makes them real. When you're compassionate with yourself, you create an inner environment where growth is possible. So, how can you begin? Start by noticing your inner voice. When you make a mistake, what do you say to yourself? Do you shame yourself? Do you call yourself names? Would you speak that way to someone you love? If the answer is no, then it's time to change the conversation. Practice replacing harsh thoughts with kind, encouraging ones. For example, instead of, "I'm such a failure," say, "I'm struggling but I'm learning." Instead of, "I should be better by now," say, "Growth takes time and I'm making progress." Instead of, "I always mess things up," say, "Everyone makes mistakes. I can try again." At first, this may feel unnatural, especially if you've been self-critical for years. But like any skill, self-compassion grows with practice. You can also try simple daily rituals. Start or end your day with a few kind words to yourself. Write a letter to yourself when you're feeling down, as if writing to a friend. Put reminders around your space that say things like, "It's okay to rest," or "You're doing your best." And when you're going through a tough time, try placing your hand over your heart, closing your eyes, and saying, "This is hard. I'm doing my best. I choose to be kind to myself right now." These small moments add up. They soften the edges of your inner world. They create space for healing. And as you learn to be more compassionate with yourself, something beautiful happens. You also become more compassionate with others. You stop expecting perfection. You stop judging people for their struggles. You begin to connect more deeply with yourself and with those around you. Because in the end, becoming your best self isn't about being flawless. It's about being whole. And self-compassion is what makes that wholeness possible. Chapter 10. Becoming your best self every day. You've now walked through the core ideas that shape personal transformation: self-awareness, letting go, vision, habits, mindset, connection, purpose, and compassion. But here's the most important truth to remember. Becoming your best self isn't a destination. It's a daily decision. It's not about arriving at some perfect version of you. It's about showing up again and again as the person you want to be, even when it's hard. It's about living intentionally instead of drifting through life on autopilot. So let's make it practical. What does becoming your best self look like in everyday life? It looks like waking up with purpose, even on days you feel tired. Choosing growth over comfort, even in small ways. Speaking kindly to yourself, even when you fall short. Taking one small action toward your goals, even when you're unsure. Surrounding yourself with people who reflect your values. Setting boundaries that protect your peace. Listening to your inner voice, even when it whispers. Pausing to reflect before reacting. Being present for the little things. A walk, a smile, a breath. It's in the tiny choices. The silent wins. The quiet discipline. Your best self doesn't only show up during big moments. It lives in how you treat yourself when no one is watching. It lives in the way you keep going when no one is cheering. It lives in how you bounce back when things don't go your way. And some days, you won't feel your best. You'll get frustrated. You'll get discouraged. You'll slip into old patterns. That's okay. Your best self is not about being perfect. It's about being committed. You can begin again, every day, every hour, even in this moment. The journey is lifelong. You will never be finished. And that's not something to fear, that's something to celebrate. Because it means you always have room to grow, to learn something new, to start fresh, to go deeper. So how do you stay on this path long after the inspiration fades? Here are a few final reminders. 1. Check in with yourself regularly. Ask, am I living in alignment with my values? Am I making choices that reflect the person I want to become? 2. Create daily rituals that ground you. Maybe it's journaling, meditation, a morning walk, or setting intentions. These small habits act as anchors. They bring you back to center. 3. Be flexible. Life will change and so will you. Your goals, priorities, and vision may evolve. That's growth. Adjust your direction, but stay true to your core. 4. Celebrate small progress. You don't need to wait for big milestones. Every step forward is worth noticing. Every moment of courage, kindness, discipline, or truth matters. 5. Keep learning. Listen. Reflect. Surround yourself with wisdom. Never stop being a student of life. And finally, trust yourself. You are more capable, more resilient, and more powerful than you've been taught to believe. You don't need to become someone else. You need to return to the best version of who you already are. You are not here just to exist. You are here to live deeply, to love fully, to rise after falling, to grow through everything, to leave the world a little better because you were in it. So, take a breath. Step forward, not in fear, but in faith. Because the best version of you is not out of reach. It's built, moment by moment, choice by choice, day by day. And that journey begins now. Chapter 11. The Power of Focus in a Distracted World. In today's world, attention is currency. Every app, every platform, every notification wants a piece of your mind. And slowly, without even realizing it, you lose something vital. Your ability to focus. But here's the truth. You cannot become your best self if your focus is scattered. You cannot grow, build, or create anything meaningful if your mind is constantly pulled in 100 directions. Focus is your superpower. Not talent. Not speed. Not even motivation. The person who learns to master their attention. Who knows how to quiet the noise, resist distractions, and stay present. That person gains a powerful edge in life. Focus creates depth. When you are focused, you move from shallow effort to deep impact. You're no longer just reacting. You're choosing. You can hear your own thoughts. You can access clarity. You can get real work done. Focus allows you to go deeper, into your goals, your relationships, yourself. But without focus, you may feel busy but never fulfilled. You may do many things, but rarely finish anything. You may start the day with intention and end it feeling scattered. That's not failure. It's the result of a world designed to steal your attention. So now let's take it back. Where does your attention go? Let's begin with a simple but powerful question. Where is your attention going every day? Not what your goals are. Not what's on your calendar. But what actually pulls your mind. Check your phone usage. Your scrolling habits. How many times a day are you pulled into distraction, emails, texts, social media, breaking news? You don't have to feel ashamed. We've all been there. But awareness is the first step to reclaiming your power. Protecting your focus. Here are 5 practical ways to build focus into your life. 1. Start the day without your phone. How you start your day shapes your mental energy. Don't let the world's noise be the first thing you consume. Instead, begin with silence, movement, journaling, or intention setting, even if it's just 10 minutes. 2. Practice single tasking. Multitasking is a myth. Your brain switches rapidly between tasks, and it costs you energy, accuracy, and depth. Choose one task. Give it your full presence. Finish it. Then move on. 3. Create no distraction blocks. Set boundaries around deep work. Turn off notifications. Use tools like focus timers. Even 25 to 30 minutes of pure focus can achieve more than hours of half-distracted effort. 4. Declutter your mind and space. Mental clutter and physical clutter feed each other. Create clean workspaces. Write down your thoughts instead of carrying them in your head. Focus thrives in clarity. 5. Ask, is this worth my energy? Before you engage with a task, a conversation, or a piece of content, pause and ask, is this helping me grow? Or is it just noise? Not everything deserves your attention. Choose wisely. What you focus on expands. There's another side to focus. It's not just about productivity. It's about intention. Because what you focus on grows. Focus on negativity, and it multiplies. Focus on gratitude, and it deepens. Focus on what matters to you, and it begins to flourish. So take back your focus from the meaningless, and give it to the meaningful. Focus on your well-being, your goals, your relationships, your inner peace, your growth, and give yourself permission to disconnect from anything that doesn't serve that path. Chapter 12. Courage over comfort. Every meaningful transformation in life begins with a moment of courage. Not the loud, dramatic kind of courage we see in movies, but the quiet, steady courage it takes to speak your truth, set a boundary, start again, walk away, or face something you've been avoiding. This kind of courage doesn't shout. It whispers. And still, it changes everything. Because growth never happens in your comfort zone. And your best self? It lives just beyond it. The pull of comfort. We all crave safety. It's human. Our brains are wired to protect us from risk, pain, and discomfort. So what do? We stay in familiar routines. We hold on to relationships that don't serve us. We delay decisions. We hide behind later, someday, and when I'm ready. And we call it being realistic. But deep down you feel it. You know you're made for more. And that more doesn't come wrapped in comfort. It comes through courage. What is courage really? Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is the decision to move forward, despite fear. It's not about being fearless. It's about being willing. Willing to fail. Willing to be seen. Willing to be uncomfortable, if it means growing, healing, and becoming who you were meant to be. Small acts of everyday bravery. Courage doesn't have to be dramatic. Sometimes it looks like asking for help when you're used to doing it alone. Saying no when you've always said yes. Leaving when it's easier to stay. Starting something new, even if you don't feel ready. Choosing peace over proving a point. Telling the truth even when your voice shakes. These are quiet acts of power. These are the choices that build the life you want. One brave moment at a time. The comfort trap. Staying comfortable may feel safe in the short term. But in the long term, it costs you. It costs you progress. It costs you growth. It costs you the life that was meant for you. The comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. If you want to grow, you have to stretch. If you want to rise, you have to risk. That means facing the unknown. That means stepping into situations where you don't have all the answers. That means embracing temporary discomfort for long-term strength. The growth curve. Here's what happens when you choose courage. First, it feels uncomfortable. You doubt yourself. You want to turn back. Then, it feels uncertain. You don't know if it's working. Growth is invisible at first. But soon you feel it. A shift. A new confidence. The old you feels distant. Eventually, courage becomes your new normal. What once scared you now feels like a part of you. This is the growth curve. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. Ask yourself, right now, what area of your life is asking for courage? A decision you've been putting off? A conversation you're afraid to have? A risk you know you need to take? What's the cost of staying comfortable? And what might be possible if you chose courage instead? Let yourself imagine it. Let yourself lean into that vision. And when you feel ready, take one small step. You don't need to leap. You just need to move. Chapter 13. Designing a life of balance and joy. As you pursue growth, transformation, and success, it's easy to fall into the trap of constant doing. Striving, hustling, achieving, checking boxes, climbing ladders. But there's something just as important, often more difficult to master, than discipline or ambition. It's balance. And more than that, it's joy. Because a truly successful life isn't one where you're only productive. It's one where you feel fulfilled, where you experience lightness and laughter, peace and presence, not just pressure. So in this chapter, we're not talking about doing more. We're talking about doing what truly matters and feeling alive while you do it. The myth of having it all. Modern life often teaches us that to be our best, we must do everything. Be productive. Be perfect. Be available. Be successful. Be strong. Be fast. But here's the truth. You can't do it all the time and still feel well. A full calendar doesn't equal a full life. Being busy doesn't mean you're growing. Doing more doesn't mean you're becoming more. If you're constantly exhausted, overwhelmed, or disconnected from what matters, then it's time to redesign your life. Not from pressure, but from presence. What does a balanced life look like? Balance isn't about equal hours. It's about intentional energy. It's knowing what to give your best to and what to let go. It's making space for rest without guilt, play without purpose, connection without distraction, growth without burnout. Balance isn't perfect. It's personal. It looks different for everyone. And it changes depending on your season of life. The question is, does your life feel aligned with what matters most to you? If the answer is no, it's not failure. It's a signal. A chance to pause and realign. The power of joy. Let's go even deeper. Joy isn't something you earn after reaching your goals. It's something you practice along the way. Joy isn't the reward, it's the fuel. When you include joy in your journey, you actually grow faster, not slower. You become more creative, more open, more connected to your purpose. Joy makes the hard days lighter. Joy keeps you rooted in the present, instead of always chasing the future. So ask yourself, when was the last time you laughed deeply? When was the last time you played without a reason? When was the last time you felt simple delight just from being alive? These moments matter. They restore you. They remind you that life is more than productivity. It's about presence, creating rhythms, not routines. You don't need a rigid routine to feel balanced. What you need are rhythms, flexible, life-giving practices that support your energy and well-being. Here are a few examples. Morning intention rituals. Start with gratitude, stillness, or reflection. Tech-free evenings. Create time to be truly present with people you love. Scheduled joy. Plan time for what brings you happiness, just like you plan meetings. Monthly reflection. Ask, what's working? What needs adjusting? Where do I need more rest, more joy, or more focus? These rhythms create space. And in that space, you reconnect with yourself. Let go to feel lighter. Sometimes balance isn't about adding more. It's about letting go. Let go of what no longer serves you. Outdated goals, draining habits, unspoken obligations, expectations that were never truly yours. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means making room for what really matters. Your life doesn't need to be filled. It needs to feel aligned. Final thoughts. You're not here just to perform. You're here to experience, to grow, but also to rest, to create, but also to enjoy, to become, but also to be. Don't wait until you arrive to feel peace. Build a life that feels peaceful now. Don't postpone joy. Make it part of your journey. Because your best self isn't just someone who achieves. Your best self feels deeply, lives fully, and knows how to carry both discipline and delight together. Balance is not a finish line. It's a practice. And joy is not a luxury. It's a part of who you are meant to be. Chapter 14. Building Emotional Resilience. Life will challenge you. That's not a possibility, it's a guarantee. Plans will fall apart. People will disappoint you. Things won't always go the way you hoped. But in those moments, the question is not, will things get easier? The question is, will I become stronger? That strength, the ability to stay grounded, to bend but not break, to feel without falling apart. That's called emotional resilience. And it is one of the most powerful qualities of your best self. What is emotional resilience? Emotional resilience is not about pretending to be okay. It's not about suppressing emotions, forcing positivity, or toughing it out. It's about staying centered during difficulty. It's the ability to feel your emotions without being controlled by them. To move through stress, setbacks, and pain without losing your clarity or your core. It doesn't mean you don't feel sadness, frustration, or fear. It means you know how to respond, not just react. And that makes all the difference. Why resilience matters. Resilience isn't just for crisis moments. It's for daily life. It helps you keep going when things don't go as planned. Communicate calmly during conflict. Bounce back from failure. Navigate uncertainty without shutting down. Stay connected to your goals, even when emotions run high. Resilience doesn't make you emotionless. It makes you emotionally intelligent. And that's a skill that elevates every area of your life: relationships, work, health, and self-worth. Resilient people do these 5 things. Here are 5 things emotionally resilient people consistently practice. 1. They name their emotions. Instead of saying, "I'm fine," when they're not, they pause and ask, "What am I really feeling right now?" Sadness? Anger? Disappointment? Fear? Naming your emotion is the first step to managing it. Because what you can name, you can navigate. 2. They create space between trigger and response. When something upsetting happens, they don't instantly react. They breathe. They reflect. They ask, "What outcome do I want?" instead of fueling the emotion. This space between stimulus and response is where your power lives. 3. They care for themselves during stress. Resilient people don't push themselves to burnout. They know when to rest, when to ask for help, when to say no. Self-care is not a weakness. It's a form of emotional stability. For they learn from the hard times. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" they ask, "What can I learn from this?" Resilient people turn pain into purpose. They don't just survive difficult seasons, they grow through them. 5. They stay connected to hope. Resilience isn't blind optimism. It's the grounded belief that even in pain, something good can still come. It's trusting that healing is possible even if it takes time. Building your resilience muscle. Resilience is not something you're born with. It's built. Here are a few ways to build yours every day. Practice emotional awareness. Don't ignore what you feel. Get curious about it. Start small. Choose to respond calmly in minor situations. It builds strength for bigger ones. Reflect often. Ask yourself what you've overcome. That history reminds you how capable you are. Train your mind. Journaling, meditation, deep breathing. These help calm emotional storms. Talk it out. Don't carry it alone. Conversations can release tension and bring perspective. And most of all, be kind to yourself during hard times. You don't need to get over it quickly. You don't need to stay strong for others. You just need to stay present and keep moving forward, one breath, one step at a time. Chapter 15. The Discipline of Consistency. If there's one trait that separates those who only dream from those who actually grow, it's not intelligence, talent, or luck. It's consistency. Not flashy bursts of effort, not sudden motivation, but quiet, steady action over time. Your best self is not created in a single breakthrough. It's shaped by the small, repeated choices you make every day. Consistency, intensity. We live in a culture that celebrates intensity, the overnight success, the viral moment, the dramatic transformation. But real change? It happens through discipline, not drama. You don't need to be extreme. You need to be consistent. Not 3 hours in the gym one day, but 30 minutes daily. Not writing a book in a week, but writing 1 page every day. Not meditating for an hour once a month, but 5 minutes each morning. Small actions, done regularly. That's what builds mastery, momentum, and deep confidence. Why is consistency so hard? Consistency sounds simple, but it's not always easy. Here's why we often struggle. We expect quick results. We get bored with the routine. We doubt ourselves when progress feels slow. We get distracted by comparison or new ideas. We let our emotions decide our actions. But here's the truth. Your emotions may change. Your motivation may fade. But your commitment must remain. Because feelings are fleeting. But habits? Habits create results. Discipline is a form of self-respect. When you stay consistent, even when it's hard, even when no one sees you, even when it's inconvenient, you send a message to yourself. I matter. My goals matter. My future matters. That builds trust. And self-trust is the foundation of self-worth. Keys to staying consistent. Let's talk about how to actually stay consistent in your real, busy life. 1. Lower the barrier to action. Don't wait until conditions are perfect. Make it so easy to start that there's no excuse. Instead of saying, I'll work out for an hour, say, I'll do 10 push-ups. Instead of, I'll write a chapter, say, I'll write 1 paragraph. Instead of, I'll meditate deeply, say, I'll sit in silence for 3 minutes. Momentum beats motivation. 2. Track your progress. What gets tracked, gets done. Use a simple habit tracker, calendar, or journal. Check things off. Reflect weekly. Visual progress builds emotional motivation. 3. Detach from immediate results. Don't look for instant gratification. Think long-term. Ask yourself, if I keep doing this for 6 months, what will my life look like? Consistency isn't about today's results. It's about tomorrow's freedom. 4. Expect resistance. Some days will be hard. You'll want to skip, quit, or delay. Don't take it personally. Don't panic. That resistance is part of the process. The key is to keep going, even imperfectly. Progress over perfection. 5. Reward the identity, not just the outcome. You're not just building habits. You're building identity. Each time you show up, say, I am someone who takes care of my body. I am someone who keeps promises to myself. I am someone who doesn't give up easily. That identity will carry you further than any checklist. Consistency compounds. Imagine if you gave just 1% more effort each day. One tiny improvement, repeated. After a week, you may not notice much. After a month, you'll feel the shift. After a year, your entire life will be different. That's the power of consistency. It doesn't add up. It multiplies. Chapter 16. From comparison to confidence. At some point, we all do it. We scroll. We look. We wonder, why am I not there yet? Why does their life seem so much better than mine? What am I missing? And just like that, you shrink. Your progress feels small. Your path feels slow. Your light feels dim. This is the trap of comparison. It's silent. It's subtle. And it's everywhere. But it's also a thief of joy, clarity, and self-worth. If you want to become your best self, you must learn how to let go of comparison and grow into confidence, the kind that's rooted in your own life, your own values, and your own timing. Why comparison is so dangerous? Comparison seems harmless at first, but over time, it creates real damage. It steals your gratitude. It fuels your insecurities. It distracts you from your purpose. It makes you chase someone else's dream instead of honoring your own. You begin to measure your self-worth based on someone else's highlight reel. And slowly, you stop seeing yourself clearly. But here's what's true. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not missing anything. You are on your path. And it's not supposed to look like anyone else's. The illusion of perfection. When you compare, you're usually comparing your behind the scenes with someone else's best moments. Their success story? You didn't see the years of failure. Their relationship? You don't see the private struggles. Their lifestyle? You don't know the debt, pressure, or burnout behind it. No one has it all together. Not really. What you're comparing yourself to is an illusion. And you deserve better than that. How to break free from comparison. You don't have to stay stuck in this cycle. Here's how to shift from comparison to confidence. 1. Unfollow to stay focused. If certain people or pages constantly trigger comparison, mute them, unfollow them, or take a break. Your peace matters more than their content. Create a digital space that inspires you, not one that makes you question your worth. 2. Celebrate instead of compete. When someone else succeeds, let it expand you, not threaten you. Their win doesn't mean your loss. Their light doesn't dim yours. In fact, when you celebrate others genuinely, you train your brain to believe that success is abundant and available to you too. 3. Come back to your values. Ask yourself, what truly matters to me? What kind of life do I want to build? What does success look like for me, not for others? When you live from your values, you stop chasing validation. You stop needing permission. You begin to build a life that feels good on the inside, not just looks good on the outside. 4. Measure backward, not sideways. Don't measure your progress by someone else's pace. Measure it by your own. Look back. Where were you 6 months ago? A year ago? 5 years ago? You'll see just how far you've come. You'll realize you've been growing all along. That's confidence, recognizing your own evolution. 5. Affirm your uniqueness. You were not meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out, in your voice, your journey, your gifts. Say it aloud. I am enough. I am on time. My journey is unfolding exactly as it should. When you truly believe that, you stop needing to compare. You start to lead from within. Chapter 17. Becoming a leader of your life. You've come a long way. You've explored who you are, what holds you back, what moves you forward. You've faced inner doubts, reconnected with your values, and learned how to create lasting change from the inside out. But now we take it one step further. Because the journey of becoming your best self doesn't end with reflection or even transformation. It leads you to something even greater, personal leadership. It means you stop waiting for permission. You stop blaming your circumstances. You stop playing small. You step into full ownership of your time, your thoughts, your actions, your life. You stop asking, who will lead me? And you start saying, I will lead myself. What does it mean to lead your life? It doesn't mean you have to be a CEO or a public figure. It means you treat your life as something sacred, something you are responsible for shaping. Personal leadership is not about power over others. It's about power within. When you lead your life, you stop drifting. You stop reacting. You start choosing with intention, clarity, and courage. You show up for your goals. You set boundaries around your time. You take responsibility for your emotional state. You guide your mindset instead of letting it be hijacked by fear, comparison, or doubt. This is what separates the average from the exceptional. They lead themselves. First, the qualities of a life leader. You already have the potential. Now, it's about nurturing the traits that bring it to life. Here are the qualities of someone who leads their life with integrity and strength. 1. Clarity. They know what they value. They make decisions based on purpose, not pressure. They ask, what kind of life do I want to build? And they build it. 2. Discipline. They don't wait for motivation. They show up. They know that small, consistent effort beats occasional bursts of inspiration. 3. Responsibility. They own their results, good or bad. They don't blame, complain, or play the victim. They ask, what's within my control? And focus there. 4. Emotional intelligence. They don't let emotions lead them off course. They feel deeply, reflect honestly, and respond wisely. 5. Adaptability. They don't fear change. They pivot when needed. They grow through what they go through. 6. Vision. They see beyond today. They make decisions not just for now, but for who they are becoming. Leadership is a practice. No one is born with all of these traits. They're developed, just like muscles. You practice them in the way you talk to yourself, in how you use your time, in what you say yes to and what you say no to. And over time, you become the kind of person others look up to, not because of your title or status, but because of your character, your presence, your grounded power. Start leading now. You don't have to wait to feel ready. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need permission. All you need is to begin, right here, right now. Ask yourself, what would the leader version of me do today? How would they think, speak, and act? What would they prioritize? What would they let go of? Then take one small step in that direction, and keep stepping, every day. Because leadership isn't something you step into later. It's something you choose now. The journey to your best self ends where it began, with you. You are the author. You are the architect. You are the one who decides. Lead your life with intention. Move through the world with integrity. Hold yourself with compassion and walk forward with courage. Because you already have what it takes. And the world doesn't just need more followers. It needs people who lead their lives with truth, heart, and strength. That person is you. So take the lead. And let the rest of your life reflect the very best of you.